Leaders of the Iranian regime are in a panic because the threat now seems personal. On Tuesday, May 19th, 2026, the leadership in Tehran is not just afraid of another bombing aimed at radar, a military base, or a nuclear facility. The greatest fear is of an attack authorized by Trump to directly target the men who command the Revolutionary Guard, the heads of the nuclear program, and the operators who keep the regime alive. Internally, the tension has grown because Iran is not only facing planes, ships, and missiles from the United States. It faces infiltration, suspicion of traitors, American and Israeli intelligence, and internal collapse that forces the regime to arrest, execute, and monitor its own allies. Iranian propaganda tries to project strength outward, but behind closed doors, the atmosphere is different. No one knows who is leaking information, who is giving away locations, who is giving away contact routines, and who could be the next target if Trump decides to turn the pressure into a decapitation strike against the elite who run the country. I'm going to tell you all about that, but right now, you'll want to be subscribed to the channel to stay well informed. Real-time information with the best journalistic quality ever seen to the credibility standards set by Milson Alves. The pressure increased because Trump once again made it clear that the United States might attack Iran again, including Tehran, if they don't accept the agreement. Reuters reported today that Trump said he was an hour away from authorizing a new military action and that the attack could happen. Pressure rose, it went back to the States. Pressure rose, it went back, making it clear that the United States attacking Iran directly affects the Iranian leadership because the threat isn't bearing down on a whole intact regime. Information. It comes after months of attacks, internal losses, and growing fear of a campaign designed to decapitate the leadership. The biggest news now isn't just the threat of an attack, it's the paranoia inside Iran itself. Reuters reported on May 13 that the regime executed a man accused of spying for Israel. The case was made public by Iran's own judicial agency, while human rights groups questioned the legitimacy of the process. For Tehran, this execution serves as an internal message. For the world, it shows something else. The regime believes it has been infiltrated, believes that Israel has informants, and believes that its important figures can be brought down by information leaked from within. This fear is not new. Al Jazeera reported in March that decapitation attacks hit the leadership of the Revolutionary Guard and exposed an explosive combination. For Tehran, it's a combination of US technological surveillance, Israeli operations, and the internal decay of Iranian security. This is the point that directly connects with the panic of the regime's leaders. There's no point in having aggressive speeches on state television if enemy intelligence can get into the system, map out targets, and break through the protection set up by the system's own leaders. Trump understands that the Iranian leadership fears a precision strike more than a long war with ideological rhetoric. A long war allows for propaganda, flags, funerals, and a narrative of resistance. Decapitation strike. It takes from the regime exactly what it tries to protect: the command, the decision-making chain, the military leaders, the men who know where the arsenals are, the scientists who support the nuclear program, and the operators who control militias outside Iran. When these names start to hide, the Islamic Republic stops looking like a confident regime and starts to look like a machine searching for traitors within its own ranks. The Guardian reported that Trump threatened a major attack if Tehran does not accept a deal soon, while Iran tries to respond with new demands, including sanctions relief, withdrawal of all American troops, and reparations. This list shows that the regime is not negotiating from a comfortable position. It is trying to extract guarantees to survive, buy time, and ease military pressure. Trump rejected the proposal as insufficient and kept the threat alive. Vice President J.D. Vance also emphasized that the United States remains ready to resume the military campaign if the nuclear negotiations fail. According to The Guardian, Vance said that Washington prefers diplomacy but remains prepared to act. This statement increases the pressure on Tehran because it shows that it is not just Trump improvising in front of cameras. The White House is putting the military threat into its official strategy. The Iranian leadership also feels the weight of internal collapse. The regime is escalating repression, carrying out mass arrests, and fearing revolt as it tries to maintain an image of strength. The Guardian reported that, since the beginning of the war, human rights groups have pointed to thousands of arrests and an increase in executions of political prisoners. This shows that Tehran is fighting on two fronts at the same time, abroad against Trump, Israel, and regional allies. At home, against its own people, against suspected spies, and against any sign of disobedience. Trump's strategy gains strength precisely because it hits the regime at this weak point. Iran can still threaten the Gulf, it can still talk about new fronts, it can still activate allied groups. But its leaders know that American and Israeli intelligence have already demonstrated the ability to target important figures. ABC News reported in April that analysts saw the Iranian regime as weaker and more radical after the assassination campaign by the United States and Israel. This combination is dangerous for Tehran because a weaker regime needs to shout louder, but the more it shouts, the more it shows that it is cornered. The Iranian leadership's fear is not theatrical, it's practical. They need to change their routines, reinforce security, and be suspicious of their advisors. Review communications, hide scientists, protect commanders, and control internal factions that compete for space after the losses. Each new arrest for espionage inside Iran becomes a warning. If Israel and the United States have come close before, they can come close again. And if Trump authorizes a new attack, the target may not be just a runway, radar, or warehouse. It could be the human structure that holds the regime together. Tehran tries to respond with external threats because it cannot admit internal weakness. The regime talks about retaliation, about new fronts, about pressure in the Gulf, and about attacks against American interests. But the most revealing reaction happens inside Iran, with arrests, executions, and a hunt for supposed infiltrators. They search for traitors everywhere, accuse people of spying, increase repression, and try to stop any information from leaking before approval. Antes do próximo ataque. Trump uses this fear as a negotiation tool. He doesn't need to occupy Iran to keep the regime's leaders up at night. He just needs to keep the military option open, show that time is short, and make it clear that American intelligence is not blind. The Iranian regime has always tried to sell the idea that Washington wouldn't have the courage to go all the way. Now the leadership looks at their own dead, at the uncovered infiltrators, at the internal arrests, and at Trump's threats, and they realize that the calculation has changed. Every Revolutionary Guard chief knows that Trump's threat doesn't target just the nuclear program. It targets the personal safety of the men who have made terror, regional coercion, and internal repression the regime's shield. That shield has been pierced before, and now, with Trump applying pressure again, Tehran knows it could be pierced once more. I am Milson Alves, international affairs specialist, and my purpose is to keep you well informed and bring you the truth every day. The news links are in the video description. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Finally, check the comments to engage more with the Milson Alves community.